Rich women ignore you because you're doing the same thing every other guy does. You're trying too hard, and they can smell it from across the room. The problem isn't that you're not good enough. The problem is you're playing by rules that don't work on women who have options. And until you understand what actually gets their attention, you're invisible. If you want to stop wasting time on approaches that go nowhere, hit subscribe right now. This is Rich Wife Academy. I break down exactly how to meet, attract, and date wealthy women. Not theory, not pickup artist garbage, actual strategies that work in the real world. Subscribe because this is just the beginning. Now let's talk about why you're getting ignored. Every guy who approaches a rich woman does the same thing. He tries to prove he's worthy. He name drops, mentions his job, talks about his car, his accomplishments, anything to signal, I'm successful too. She's bored before you finish your second sentence. Here's what you don't understand. Rich women are drowning in guys trying to impress them. The banker who wants to talk about his portfolio, the entrepreneur who just raised funding, the consultant who works 80 hours a week. All of them peacocking, all of them exhausting. You know what gets her attention? When you don't do that. When you ask her a real question and actually listen to the answer. When you're comfortable enough in your own skin that you don't need her validation. When you treat the conversation like you're deciding if she's interesting, not trying to convince her that you are. Rich women are used to men performing for them. The moment you stop performing, you're different. And different is what gets noticed. I'm not saying be rude or aloof, I'm saying be genuinely curious about her as a person, not as a status symbol you're trying to acquire. Ask her what she's passionate about. Ask her what she's building. Ask her what frustrates her about her industry. Then shut up and let her talk. Most guys don't make it past 90 seconds because they can't stop talking about themselves long enough to realize she's already lost interest. Rich women don't want a guy who's available all the time. They want someone who has his own life, his own goals, his own mission that doesn't revolve around getting her attention. You know what's attractive? Passion. Not for her, passion for something you're building. When you talk about your work, your project, your side hustle, and your eyes light up because you actually care about it, that registers. When you mention you're busy this week because you're launching something or traveling for work or deep into a problem you're solving, that's interesting. Compare that to the guy who's free every night, who drops everything the moment she texts, who has nothing going on except waiting for her to be available. That's not romantic. That's desperate. And here's the counterintuitive part. Rich women are attracted to men who don't need them. Not in a cold way, but in a he has his own thing and I'm invited into it way. She wants to be part of your world, not the entire world. One of the most attractive things you can do early on is say, I'd love to see you this week, but I'm slammed until Thursday. How about Friday? Not because you're playing games, because you're genuinely busy building something. She respects that. It signals you have priorities beyond dating, which means you're someone worth investing time in. If she texts you, you text back. But not immediately, not desperately. You respond when you actually have time to engage, which might be an hour later, might be 3 hours later, because you were in the middle of something. If she suggests plans, you either agree or offer an alternative. You don't rearrange your entire schedule to accommodate her. You find a time that works for both of you, like two adults with lives. If she's taking a day to respond, you do the same. Not as a strategy, but because you're mirroring the pace she's setting. You're showing her that you operate at the same speed she does. Rich women test this constantly. They want to see if you're going to become clingy, needy, or demanding. The moment you start double texting, asking why she didn't respond, or getting anxious about her availability, you've failed the test. Matching her energy doesn't mean being cold. It means being calm. It means trusting that if she's interested, she'll make time. And if she's not, you're not going to beg for her attention. This is where most guys fall apart. They start strong, but the moment she pulls back even slightly, they panic and overcorrect. They text more, they ask more questions, they start chasing. And the quick break. If you're realizing you've been doing the exact opposite of what I just said, hit the like button and comment below. What's the biggest mistake you've made trying to get a woman's attention? I want to know where guys are actually messing this up. Let me tell you what rich women actually respond to, and it's simpler than you think. You don't need to be the smartest guy in the room. You need to have something to say that isn't boring. Read books she hasn't heard of. Travel places that aren't just beach resorts. Have hobbies that require skill, not just money. Be curious about things that aren't directly related to your career. Know something about art, music, food, culture, enough to have an opinion, not enough to be pretentious about it. Rich women are surrounded by successful men who are one-dimensional. They make money, they talk about work, they go to the gym, and that's it. No depth, no curiosity, no range. If you can talk about something unexpected, why you're into pottery, what you learned from your last trip to Portugal, a documentary that changed how you think about something, that's memorable. Not because it's impressive, but because it's different. And here's the key. You're not doing this to impress her. You're doing it because you're genuinely interested in the world beyond your job and your bank account. She can tell the difference. Guys who fake depth get exposed in about 3 conversations. Guys who actually have it keep her attention long after the initial attraction fades. I'm not talking about being tall or handsome. I'm talking about how you carry yourself. Do you walk into a room like you belong there, or like you're apologizing for existing? Do you make eye contact when you talk, or do you look away? Do you take up space comfortably, or do you shrink yourself to avoid being noticed? Rich women notice all of this within seconds. Confident body language signals that you're used to being in high-status environments. Nervous energy signals that you're out of your depth. And confident doesn't mean loud or dominating. It means calm, grounded, comfortable in your own skin regardless of who's in the room. You know what's instantly attractive? A guy who orders at a nice restaurant without hesitating, who tips generously without making a show of it, who knows how to dress well without trying too hard, who can hold a conversation with anyone from the valet to the CEO. That's class. And class is what separates guys who get attention from guys who get ignored. You're not going to meet rich women at dive bars or clubs. You already know this. So stop going to places where they don't exist and then wondering why you never meet them. Go to art galleries, wine tastings, charity events, boutique fitness classes, industry networking events, places where she already is and where conversation happens naturally. But here's the difference. Don't go there to hunt. Go there because you actually care about art, wine, fitness, or whatever the event is. Women can tell when you're there for the wrong reasons, and it makes you invisible. When you're genuinely engaged in the event, looking at the art, tasting the wine, participating in the class, you're approachable. You're not the guy scanning the room for targets. You're the guy who's present, and that's magnetic. Rich women don't want to feel like they're being hunted. They want to meet someone organically in a place where they already feel comfortable. Give them that. Here's the bottom line. Getting a rich woman's attention has nothing to do with trying harder. It has everything to do with being the kind of man she doesn't meet every day. Stop performing. Start building something that matters. Match her energy instead of chasing it. Be interesting because you're actually interested in the world. Carry yourself with quiet confidence. And show up in the places where she already spends her time. Do that and you'll stop being invisible. Getting her attention is step 1. Keeping it is a completely different game. Next video, I'm breaking down what rich women are actually looking for in a relationship and why most guys disqualify themselves within the first month. Subscribe to Rich Wife Academy so you don't miss it, and click the next video now. This is a system and you need all the pieces. See you there.